Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Anouk Aimée is a celebrated French actress, known for her enigmatic beauty and emotionally complex performances. Born Nicole Françoise Florence Dreyfus on April 27, 1932, in Paris. She adopted the screen name Anouk Aimée early in her career. With a career spanning over 7 decades, Aimée has become one of the most iconic figures in European cinema. Early life and career beginnings. Anouk was born into a family of actors. Her mother, Geneviève Sorya, was also a film actress. She made her film debut at the age of 14 in La Maison, sous 1947. Her striking screen presence and expressive eyes quickly caught the attention of directors and audiences alike. Rise to international fame. Aimée's international breakthrough came in the 1960s. Particularly with 2 films, La Dolce Vita, 1960, by Federico Fellini, where she played the melancholy socialite Maddalena. A Man and a Woman, Un homme et une femme, 1966, by Claude Lelouch, in which she starred as a widow who finds love again. This film won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and 2 Academy Awards, catapulting her to worldwide fame. Signature style. Often cast as mysterious, elegant, and introspective women, Aimée brought depth and subtlety to roles that explored love, loss, and the human condition. Her beauty, refined and distant, made her a muse to auteurs like Jacques Demy, Fellini, and Lelouch. Awards and recognition. Nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, A Man and a Woman. Won the Golden Globe Award for the same role. Received the honorary César in 2002 for her contribution to French cinema. Honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Cannes Film Festival in 2003. Personal life. Anouk Aimée was married several times, including to actor Albert Finney. She often kept her personal life private, maintaining an aura of mystique that paralleled many of her roles. She is also noted for her conversion to Catholicism, despite being born into a Jewish family. Legacy. Anouk Aimée remains a revered figure in cinema, embodying a uniquely European sophistication and emotional intelligence. She worked with many of the 20th century's greatest filmmakers and influenced generations of actors with her understated, powerful performances. The enigma of Anouk Aimée. Few actresses have cultivated such a mystical, almost mythic presence on-screen as Anouk Aimée. Her allure wasn't built on accessibility or charm, but on distance, a sense that she belonged to a dream or memory more than to everyday life. She often played women who were unknowable, and her characters rarely revealed everything, much like Aimée herself. Her off-screen life mirrored this enigma. Quiet, elegant, and guarded. Unlike many celebrities of her generation, Aimée resisted the cult of personality, rarely giving in-depth interviews or indulging in public spectacle. Framed picture. A muse to the greats. Anouk Aimée was more than an actress. She was a muse to several visionary directors, each of whom saw something unique in her. Federico Fellini saw her as the soul of Rome's existential crisis, La Dolce Vita, 8½. Jacques Demy imagined her as the bittersweet romantic ghost of French cinema, Lola. Claude Lelouch turned her into the emotional heart of one of cinema's greatest love stories, A Man and a Woman. George Cukor and Sidney Lumet brought her to Hollywood, though she remained much more connected to European cinema's style and sensibility. She was also photographed and painted by numerous artists, further cementing her as a figure of ethereal beauty and emotional ambiguity. Film projector. The philosophy behind her roles. Many of Aimée's characters reflect themes central to existentialist cinema. Ambiguity of identity. Her characters often wrestle with duality, lover and widow, mother and dreamer, muse and mourner. The weight of memory, in films like A Man and a Woman. Her silences are shaped by grief and longing. Time is felt not just as a backdrop but as a weight her characters carry. Emotional solitude, even when surrounded by people. Her characters often seem alone, not as victims but as observers of the world's impermanence. These traits made her a natural fit for filmmakers in the post-war era who were dealing with existential doubt, emotional fragmentation, and the search for meaning in a rapidly changing Europe. Speech balloon on beauty, cinema, and femininity. Anouk Aimée has spoken only sparingly about her career, but a few quotes offer insight into her approach. "I think my beauty saved me," she once said. Not out of vanity, but as an acknowledgement of how she was seen before she was understood. She viewed acting not as performance, but as presence, a way of inhabiting a moment truthfully without explanation. Her kind of femininity was not loud or performative, but inward and poetic. Globe influence on future generations. Aimée's subtle style and aura influenced many actresses and filmmakers. Juliette Binoche, Isabelle Huppert, and Marion Cotillard have cited or reflected aspects of Aimée's restrained emotional expressiveness. Directors like Krzysztof Kieślowski and Wong Kar-wai have created female characters that seem drawn from the Anouk Aimée archetype, distant yet vulnerable, elusive yet unforgettable. Mantelpiece clock. Still revered in the 21st century despite working less in her later years, Aimée remained a revered cultural icon. In 2019, she appeared once more in The Best Years of a Life, directed by Claude Lelouch, reuniting with Jean-Louis Trintignant, a poetic return to her most iconic role more than 50 years later. The film wasn't just a sequel, but a meditation on memory, aging, and enduring connection, themes central to her entire body of work. Film frame's final reflection. Anouk Aimée is not simply a film star, she is a symbol of a certain kind of cinema, introspective, poetic, melancholic, and intelligent. In an era of spectacle, she remains a figure of understated elegance and psychological depth, reminding us that the most powerful performances are often the quietest. The cinematic symbolism of Anouk Aimée. Anouk Aimée didn't just perform, she became a symbol. In much of 20th century cinema, especially in post-war Europe, she represented more than her characters. What she symbolized: the eternal feminine, enigmatic, maternal, sensual, and distant all at once. Memory made flesh. Many of her roles involve looking back, being remembered, or carrying emotional scars. The specter of modern love, detached, complex, shaped by loss, often with more questions than resolutions. Aimée's screen presence often functioned like a mirror. Audiences saw their own longing and reflection in her characters. She rarely tried to win over the viewer, and yet viewers felt profoundly drawn to her. Camera with flash-style icon and visual muse. Though Aimée wasn't a fashion figure in the way of Brigitte Bardot or Catherine Deneuve, she became an accidental icon of European elegance. Her minimalist look, simple lines, monochrome clothes, natural makeup, and expressive eyes became part of her identity. She was photographed by Richard Avedon, Irving Penn, and other major fashion photographers. Designers like Yves Saint Laurent admired her understated style. Film stills of her in Lola, La Dolce Vita, and A Man and a Woman are endlessly reprinted in books on cinema and aesthetics. Speaking head what they said about her movie camera. Federico Fellini, director of 8.5 and La Dolce Vita, she is not a woman, but a continent, mysterious and unexplored. Fellini often said that Aimée embodied the inner world of his male protagonists, distant, spiritual, unreachable. clapperboard Claude Lelouch, Anouk is silence. And in that silence lives everything I could never write into the script. Lelouch was famously obsessed with Aimée's silences, how she could convey grief, hesitation, and love without speaking. Her ability to carry an emotional weight without exposition is a hallmark of a man and a woman. Face mask Jean-Louis Trintignant. When I look at her on screen, I still don't know her. And that's why I always wanted to act with her again. Their decades-long on-screen relationship is one of the most touching in cinema history. Brain, a deep thinker about her craft though often seen as reserved, Aimée was thoughtful about the nature of performance. Acting is not about pretending. It's about disappearing, about giving your skin to someone else. She was never a method actor in the traditional sense, but her intuitive performances were built on a refusal to overanalyze. Directors often trusted her to simply be, to embody a moment with emotional truth rather than technical tricks. Sparkle's themes that defined her work. If one were to trace thematic patterns through her body of work, they might include theme examples: description, time and memory, a man and a woman. The best years of a life. Her characters are often shaped by their past, unable to fully move forward. Emotional solitude, 8.5, La Dolce Vita. Even in relationships, she often appears isolated, suggesting the loneliness of modern existence. The male gaze, Lola, Justine. She is often the subject of male longing, yet her characters resist being fully possessed or understood. The elegance of restraint across her career, never overplaying a scene, always holding something back, which creates tension and allure. DNA legacy. In today's cinema, modern actresses and directors continue to echo her style. Juliette Binoche in The English Patient and Three Colors. Blue Channel's similar restraint and emotional interiority. Greta Gerwig, a director and actor, cited Aimée as an inspiration for portraying women whose inner lives are rich and complex even if their scripts are quiet. Directors like Joanna Hogg, Mia Hansen-Løve, and Sofia Coppola use female leads in the Aimée mold: introspective, enigmatic, emotionally independent. Film Projector curated essential viewing guide. If you're interested in experiencing her range and evolution, here's a suggested path. Seedling early work: Les Amants de Montparnasse, 1958, a glimpse of her early emotional intensity. Wine Golden Era: La Dolce Vita, 1960. Lola 1961, 8.5, 1963. A Man and a Woman, 1966. New Moon, underrated in later work. Justine, 1969, mysterious and psychologically rich. Salto nel Voto, 1980, Cannes-winning performance. A Man and a Woman, 20 years later, 1986, The Best Years of a Life, 2019. Face mask. Final thoughts: Anouk Aimée endures not because of celebrity, but because she evokes something fundamental and timeless: the beauty of mystery, the sadness of memory, and the poetry of restraint. She made a career not by being loud, but by letting silence speak, and in doing so, left an indelible mark on world cinema. One. The complexity of identity and her name. Anouk Aimée was born Nicole Françoise Florence Dreyfus, a name tied to a prominent Jewish surname in France, evoking the Dreyfus affair and Jewish assimilation. She later changed her stage name under the guidance of poet Jacques Prévert, who gave her the surname Aimée, meaning beloved. Why it matters. Her new name created a romantic myth around her. Anouk, an uncommon, soft-sounding first name, and Aimée, loved, suggested a kind of timeless, poetic figure, disconnected from the political and cultural baggage of her birth name. The reinvention reflects themes she would later portray on-screen: women who reframe themselves, who carry pain under polished exteriors, who seem to exist between identities. Star of David II. religion, heritage, and silence though born to a Jewish father and a Catholic mother. Aimée later converted to Catholicism, though she rarely spoke about it publicly. This quiet, internal transformation mirrors her personal and professional ambivalence. She often played characters who straddled worlds: secular, spiritual, French, foreign, present, past. Her Jewish background was rarely made central to her roles, but the themes of exile, longing, and loss, central to post-war Jewish identity, were subtly threaded through her filmography. Her silence about her religious life matches her screen persona: enigmatic, non-confessional, and interior. Heartbreak 3. Love and personal life. A mirror of her roles, Anouk Aimée had several notable marriages and relationships, all of them marked by intense emotional chemistry and eventual separation. Major relationships. Nico Derry, her first husband, brief, youthful. Pierre Bourreau, actor, singer, with whom she made a man and a woman. The film arguably became a metaphor for their own romantic high and eventual parting. Albert Finney, English actor, perhaps her most famous marriage, though it ended in divorce. She often said, "I have been lucky in cinema, but not always in love." Much like her screen characters, her real-life relationships were passionate but ultimately unsustainable. She remained independent and solitary. A woman who could love deeply but not be owned. Female sign 4. Feminist readings of Anouk Aimée. Anouk Aimée was not a self-proclaimed feminist in the political sense, but her screen roles have been reappraised by feminist film scholars as radical in their complexity. Unlike the more openly liberated archetypes of Bardot or Jane Birkin, Aimée played emotionally autonomous women long before it was popular. Rarely played one-dimensional wives or sex symbols. Was desired but never defined by male characters. Her identity was her own in 8½. For example, her character Louisa doesn't exist to fulfill the male fantasy, she confronts it. Her calm defiance and world weariness puncture the director's self-delusion. In A Man and a Woman, her grieving widowhood isn't something to be fixed by love. She teaches audiences that romance is powerful.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching.